Poetry is pleasing to the ear today, as it was years ago. But must it stop at the ear? No. Natika Angeli and her husband Richard felt there was more to poetry than the written word. They subsequently gave birth to the Poetic Dance Theater Company, a group of artistic people who bring poetry to life in concert performances. Natika Angeli has introduced poetic dance theater concepts on 5 continents. Ladies and gentlemen, the art of visual poetry, transforming poetry from the page to the stage, the Poetic Dance Theater Company.
Thank you. And now, of course, a tribute to the poet's instrument, voice. Voice goes high, suddenly drops, wrenches itself in its grab, becomes the organ, plays violin, flies into reality's fantasy. Voice cracks the sky, leads God's fingers through the rip-torn sky. Voice kneels, pleads, sails to the ancient past, becoming flux under stars, physically lifting up over all, the archetype, all voice, the sound for all sound, the right organ for communion with the universe, voice.
The Dance and Poetry Festival and Artists Embassy International welcome the poetry winners of the 28th annual Dancing Poetry Festival, created to encourage poetry and poetry together with dance, and to further understanding and peace through the universal language of the arts. I'm Natika Angeli.
And I'm Richard Angeli, and we're co-founders of the festival and are delighted that at least as many people who needed to come have come. And our multi-talented poet, instructor, webmaster is Arthur Levinson, and our fabulous secretary and board member who has contacted everybody is Cindy Levinson. And of course, the incredible contest chair, Judy Harden Chung, who's a multi-published poet. And I think, Judy, why don't you start your introduction?
I shall do that. Thank you, Richard and Natika and everyone else, for a grand prize winner, Deborah Tash from San Francisco, California, reading her grand prize poem, Through You.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Deborah Tash. I'm from San Francisco, California, and my piece is called Through You. What wants to be spoken through you? Does the grace of the ineffable choose you? With the clear poignancy of love, using your voice to bring messages that lift up all around you with hope. What wants to be spoken through you? Will you allow the resonance of divinity to call forth the sacred in all things, naming the presence of the goddess sheltered within your truest heart? What wants to be spoken through you? Are you willing to embrace your fear, taming it with recognition and courage so that you can speak to create a reality born in the fires of acceptance and compassion? What wants to be spoken through you when the inevitable pain of loss is ready to be transformed in the alchemy of joy? Can you allow yourself to claim the words and bring it to all with ears to hear?
Thank you. Man on the
Through you. What wants to be spoken through you? Does the grace of the ineffable choose you with the clear poignancy of love, using your voice to bring messages that lift up all around you with hope? Through you. What wants to be spoken through you? Does the grace of the ineffable choose you with the clear poignancy of love, using your voice to bring messages that lift up all around you with hope? What wants to be spoken through you? Will you allow the resonance of divinity to call forth the sacred in all things, naming the presence of Goddess sheltered within your truest heart? What wants to be spoken through you? Are you willing to embrace your fear, taming it with recognition and courage so that you can speak to create a reality born in the fires of acceptance and compassion? What wants to be spoken through you when the inevitable pain of loss is ready to be transformed in the alchemy of joy? Can you allow yourself to claim the words and bring it to all with ears to hear? Through you.
let's hear from our prize-winning poets. From Suparna Ghosh from Toronto, Canada. As far as the eye can see. Suparna?
Hi there, everyone. Whoever has managed to come, I'm really, really glad to see you all and share my poem with you and waiting to share yours with me. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. As Judy said, my name is Suparna Ghosh, and I'm a poet and painter. I've got 3 books to my credit and several exhibitions, including several exhibitions actually at the island. What's the name?
Alameda Island.
Alameda Island, right. Okay, so the poem that I'll be reading is As Far as the Eye Can See. But I just have to give a little bit of a plug for myself because it's such a highlight of my life when my poem Goddess was selected for the grand prize winning poem to be danced to Natika Anjali's choreography.
Thanks.
Oh my God, that was just unbelievable for me. And I was able to go to San Francisco, the Grand Palace. Will you just, Judy, what's the full name of the place?
Palace of the Legion of Honor in San
Right.
Francisco.
And it's just such a gorgeous hall, a ceiling that I've never ever seen before. Okay, so my poem was performed and I'm really proud of that memory. So Judy Chung has not very kindly limited me to 1 minute. So I'm, I'm going to stop right here and proceed.
Okay.
As far as the eye can see, sunflower fields spread atop a tree. Perhaps the night wind, swirling through the dark, thought the sky was a canvas. It could spray with a golden palette. Or maybe scattered plumes found sanctuary in the newborn leaves and became a crest on fire, touched by the morning sun. Birds, hypnotized by bells and ancient chants, plucked marigold petals from garlands draped on temple doors. The mind is a magician, plays tricks with shadows, sweeps indigo nights with coral rays, makes illusions real.
Beautiful. Thank you, Suparna. Next reader will be C.T. Holt from Albuquerque, New Mexico with UC.
Well, it would be fun if we said Holty, because instead of being an old Englishman, I'm an old Norwegian.
Oh, so it's
So
Holty.
we've got a functional E there. And although sometimes I have to be in Albuquerque, right now I'm in Francistown, New Hampshire, in a cabin that's about the size of the garage we have in Albuquerque, but it's a lot more fun and a lot more beautiful. And it's about 25 yards from a little lake with 2 kayaks and a canoe and trees and mountains and all the good things that you want. So, here live from Francistown. The piece I've got is called Musée, and this, like pretty much everything in the last 10 years, is because of and dedicated to the love of my life. And the short story is that when you've been widowed for 10 years and sitting in a corner waiting for the bus, and you run into somebody that you knew faintly about 40 years before, and you find out that all of a sudden you're crazy madly in love and life is good again, you start writing stuff like this. Musée. The Museum of Amazing Hugs, open at all hours, charges no admission. People may come and go as the spirit moves them, absorbing its unique displays as best they can. We are the showcase exhibit, near motionless in each other's arms, behind velvet ropes, in the center of a softly lit room, chins resting on shoulders, hands at times softly caressing necks or backs. The sign in the stand beside us says, "Love in Progress." Visitors circle around slowly or observe quietly from comfortable benches. Some scatter prayers around us before they depart, smiling or tearful, depending.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. Next up, we have Constantina Clark from Palatka, Florida. Constantina has 2 prize-winning poems, Without Commentary and When Writing Was Out of the Question. Constantina?
Thank you, Judy. It's great to see everybody, friends and new faces. Always so good to be together with poets. I'm going to just very briefly tell you that this first poem is about rocks, R-O-C-K-S, rocks. And basically it's going to take 3 or 4 different scenarios where rocks are privy to human interaction. So that is why it's called Without Commentary. Rocks don't usually speak very loudly. They may speak a little bit, but they're not quite as vociferous as we are. Without commentary. The stones are silent observers to the machinations of humanity. Men and women rest upon a welcoming stone surface while embraced in the beauty of a clandestine stolen kiss. A long embrace till they meet again with the strength of the stones beneath them, ever so silent. Weary, war-torn soldiers rest upon a comforting stone surface, pen in hand, while writing to lovers in far-off lands, allowing the weight of a warrior's trauma and fear to rest gently upon the strength of the stones beneath them, ever so silent. Children happily crawl up a tantalizing stone surface, and young ones first learn to fly, jumping from a solid launching pad, leaping into the power of possibility while the grown-ups are not looking. And the young ones find their power, infused with the strength of the stones beneath them, ever so silent. Tribes honor their sacred tables, a ritualistic stone surface provided for the worship of the powers that be, the remembrance of the ancestors, and in honor of Mother Earth, while their prayers dance upon the strength of the stones beneath them, ever so silent. And so it goes throughout the ages. The silence of the stones holds the desire of humanity as a sacred trust, offering silently what human beings hold most dear, the freedom to act and be heard without commentary. That's the end of this one. Now, this is a little different. This is one of those wonderful romantic fun things that sometimes happen every once in a while in our lives. So I'm going to share it with you. It's called When Writing Was Out of the Question. I sat in a green-leafed cafe in Lisbon on a deliciously warm summer's day with the branches of the trees gently swaying, while my hair flew in wisps around my sparkling rhinestone glasses. You had lunch and I had dessert, and the chocolate powder on my cake took wings and alighted on my blouse, mixing chocolate with sheer white muslin And you suggested I tuck in a napkin. And I suggested I just take off the blouse, which I did, tucking the napkin into my red bra straps, laughing together that I would dare to do so, while the Portuguese waiters looked on and smiled knowingly at the scene before them. After lunch, it was time to get on with the true business of the day, our writing. And we had high hopes to work and work hard. At least we had convinced ourselves of this at breakfast. But before I began, I dared to peek over the top of my computer, looking slyly across the table at you, and saw you deep in thought, heavily lidded eyes scrutinizing your screen, with your head slightly bent, deep in concentration, occasionally licking your lips as you bit the bottom one, with fingers dancing on the keys. From time to time, you'd say to me, listen to this, or look at that. And then you would expect me to join you, to leave my work and walk around the table, to bend cheek to cheek, looking over your shoulder, to delight with you in your most recent find, or listen to some exquisitely juicy tidbit that brought you merriment and laughter as you played instead of worked. Either you or the lazy afternoon held me in its snare, while time slipped stealthily away from us, and I realized, little by little, you had seduced me once again into the energies of your irresistible distractions. And we both laughed as we realized that writing was out of the question while sitting on a warm Portuguese terrace, caught in the snare of the seductive energies of Lisbon. And that's my poems for both of you, all of you to share tonight.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Next reader was to be Cynthia West and wasn't able to be with us. So Richard will read her poem, To Close and Combine, and then he'll read the grand prize winner, The Beauty Road. Richard?
Thanks, Judy. It's a pleasure to read Cynthia West's poetry, and we hope, she's getting well from her surgery. To choose and combine. Wet stones balanced on tiny points stand still in a river of snowmelt. The combination of shapes and weights holds together despite water roaring on all sides. The rocks have been chosen and placed amidst the onrush of events. When we dance together under the sky, our various aspects moving with attention form one strong beauty shrine. We're learning how to build with our friendships, each a different shape and color. One kindness can anchor the next as new green leaves unfurl. Dance is a space for every act of kindness to be supported by the previous while providing a foothold for the next. The river shrine looks as if it's bound to topple, yet stable in the racing flood, it holds steady for no reason, but are balancing each moment of wonder on the one before.
Hey, that's nice.
This is called the Beauty Road. The earth is a house of paintings, waiting for you to translate them onto canvas, paper, stones. Walking the beauty road for years, you've caught the visions before they could fly, held them in the fingers of your heart, touched and been touched in return. leaving a trail of images for people to discover, you've reached Land's End at the shore of the sea. The journey has taken so long, it is night. Along the way, you'd left most of what you brought: shoes, clothes, beliefs, easel, brushes, colors. A great moon rises over the horizon, casting a silver ladder all the way to your feet. You're the new road, stretching past the visible. Stepping on the shining bridge, you walk in the house of waters, placing each step on a luminous track, the beauty road.
The beauty road. The earth is a house of paintings, waiting for you to translate them onto canvas, paper, stones. Walking the beauty road for years, you've caught the visions before they could fly, held them in the fingers of your heart, touched and been touched in return. Leaving a trail of images for people to discover, you've reached Land's End at the shore of the sea. The journey has taken so long, it is night. Along the way, you've left most of what you brought. Shoes, clothes, beliefs, easel, brushes, colors. A great moon rises over the horizon, casting a silver ladder all the way to your feet. You're the new road stretching past the visible, stepping on the shining bridge. You walk in the house of waters, placing each step on a luminous track. The beauty road.
Our next reader, Jennifer Langier, Monterey, California, When Women Were Birds.
Thank you. It's Jennifer Legier,
Lozier.
and I live in Monterey, California. I actually live about a block from the stage where Jimi Hendrix torched his guitar at the Monterey Pop Festival.
I saw it again a couple of days ago on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I live a block from there. My poem is entitled When Women Were Birds, and it begins with this quotation from Terry Tempest Williams. Quote, "Once upon a time when women were birds, there was the simple understanding that to sing at dawn and to sing at dusk was to heal the world through joy." When women were birds. Once wise women ruled, taught children, cherished elders, supported their sisters. Back then, we could fly above flowering plum trees and golden fiddleneck fields. We warbled goddess proverbs, fed from field and garden, trilled forest news. Flocks of swallows ascending, we skimmed summer spindrift, autumn's kelp-littered strand. We clutched whiplash pine limbs, endured buffeting squalls, rode out winter storms. Beneath rainbows, we gathered in sunlit poppy meadows, birdsong healing torn world.
Thank you.
Nice.
Love the rhythm of that.
Yeah. We have Phyllis Meshulam from Sebastopol, California, with Earthworks.
Hi, everybody. I love the and I'm wondering, can you hear me okay? Because I've been getting some definite breakups of people's performances, kind of.
You're coming and going and breaking up a bit.
Did we all mute?
I'm breaking up a bit.
Yeah. Okay, somebody suggested maybe if we all mute, then we can try it again and you go ahead and read. So if everybody could mute, that sometimes helps.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I love this project because dance has been a great passion of mine all my life, and poetry a little bit more recently, not that recently, since I was teen, I guess. So anyway, and I'm Phyllis Meshulam from Sebastopol, California, and I'll be reading Earthworks, which has the subtitle Galapagos Islands, because that's what the inspiration for this poem is. And just so you see, I have a earth marble on. I can't seem to quite get my camera included in the shot here. Earthworks, Galapagos Islands. Lucky to visit a volcano, barely cooled into island. I see a water cave, striped moss green, amethyst purple. Frigate birds, red balloons at their throats, copy Groucho's brows with their wings. Tan iguanas, jowls shaking with menacing grins, butt heads, rub butts, decorate the black cliffs like Greek vases. Boobies break dance, pose in niches in virginal blue, turn into arrows diving for fishes. There's a rocky outcrop with a standing census of 20 penguins, in spite of warming waters, primping plush feathers and down, white eyebrows. That sea lion pup, typical toddler, ready to take on the world, explores away from napping mom, calls down sun to sparkle off wet fur. I get to snorkel in the greenish world of the turtle, a traffic jam among waving fronds, but steady flippers stroke with ease, poise, timing. Meanwhile, some human Galapagos, whose erstwhile fishing livelihood is mixed, for whom the tourist trade is bust, not boom, break into a study center full of timelines, maps, carvings of local creatures. Lynch a tortoise, leave it hanging from the rafters. He could have lived 100 more years. Don't be shocked. Our traffic jams, our traffic in fossils, my jet fuel imperil every bit of this. A pod of dolphins is clad to match the blue-gray waves. Plump as the dinghy I sit in, and almost close enough to pet, they arch their spines in aquabatic joy, surrounding me, bounding, calling me. How will I answer?
Very nice.
Aquabatic, wonderful word.
That's the joy of being a poet. We get to use lots of big words, and we get to even make up our words if we want to. That's part of being a good poet. Our next reader, Thomas C. Doc Miller from Denver, Colorado, will read If My Mouth Was a Harmonica. Doc?
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank Dancing Poetry for having found my poem. I haven't published a poem in 14 years. Now that I've retired, I've returned to the first love of my life. I'll be self-publishing a book very soon here on the JonBenét Ramsey case. But this is a happier poem. I met a musician at a poetry reading in Denver. He came in and played the harmonica. Turns out he was a harmonica player, old school, really a great man. His name was Mark Bell. He also went by Tex Bell. And this poem's for him. If My Mouth Was a Harmonica. Oh, and to repeat, my name is Doc Miller. If my mouth was a harmonica, full of sass, sex, sizzle, and soul, everyone would listen to me, and my tongue would become an oasis of sensibilities. If my mouth was a harmonica, I'd swim the blues, ride six-string fantasies, and play rhythms on trains bound for New Orleans. I'd make words into melodies, thoughts ringing in high-toned oratory. Politicians, preachers, even lawyers couldn't steal. If my mouth was a harmonica, I'd carry love songs on my lips. And baby, I'd make you swoon. Our friends would knock our door, wild heartbeats playing what we can't hold in. My mouth was a harmonica fitting my face, unlike a flute, a violin, or piano keys. I would honey up to you, blowing songs, filling sails, out to sea on winds forever new. If my mouth was a harmonica, I would sing only truth in each caress of tongue, breath, and buzz from my lips. My hands cup us face to face, rolling my mouth in rhythms full of soul and blues, this music that is me and you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lourdes Costales from Alameda, California, reading Water.
I'm sorry, I'm unable to Zoom. I'll do my best. My name is Lourdes Costales, and I'm from Alameda, California, at Alameda Island Poets, and my poem is Water. But I did want to say, even though I'm unable to Zoom, I wanted to say thank you to Richard and Natika Angeli, Judy, Cynthia, Arthur, and all the rest of the dancing poetry crew for making this event possible so that I can participate and all the other poets to share our poetry with you. So my poem again is called Water, and it was inspired by the quote, "The cure for almost anything is tears, sweat, or the sea." Thank you. And here is the poem. Water, flowing through you, flowing through me, we originating from the sea, swimming in amniotic fluid, baptized in the river Jordan. We're just one drop in the vastness of the ocean. Pure, simple, clear, essential, calming, soothing, elemental. Tea in a cup, soup in a bowl, refreshing and comforting, quenching our thirst, satisfying our hunger, nourishing body, mind, and soul. To be beside the trance-inducing turquoise color of the Greek Isles, take a dip in Lourdes' miraculous waters in France, regain our fountain of youth from Trevi Fountain in Rome, reawaken our body and our bones. Rain, rain, gift from above, quenching the earth. Drip, drip, raindrops fall from window pane. Like teardrops, water is cleansing, life-giving, washing away troubles, sins from the past, letting go pain and hurt from our pores. Take us to the sea once more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was beautiful. We now come to one of our 3 grand prize winners, Mary Kay Lindberg from Bronx, New York. First, she's going to read her prize-winning poem, Vermeer's Girl with a Pearl Earring. Then she will read the grand prize-winning poem, Dance of Atoms. Mary? You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, thank you.
I disappeared. This is the painting, Vermeer's painting, which you all probably know, of the girl with the pearl earring. The poem, Vermeer's Girl with a Pearl Earring. Turning over her left shoulder, a young turbaned stranger walks into your life. She stares at you, alarmed, charmed, attracted, distracted. Her green, white-flecked eyes make you squirm. You can't put her back in the frame. Her rosy lips are parted. What is she trying to convey? Did she forget to say she loves you? Or is she reminding you to pick up the groceries? Don't forget your keys. Walk the dog. Could she be enticing you to love her? You need to steel yourself. That gaze makes you listen to thoughts you never had or dreamed you could have. The whites of her eyes, her collar, that dab of earring like desires swirl from another century to lasso you. Her command is mute. Riveted to that spot, you want to will her away, but she, quickened by paint, will never leave you.
Oh.
Wonderful. The next poem is called Dance of Atoms. And this one is about a piece of music Berceuse by Frédéric Chopin. Dance of Atoms. Life is a tragedy. To have an epigraph. Life is a tragedy for those who feel, a comedy for those who think, and a dance for those who sense. Alan Fraser. At the piano, I play Chopin's Berceuse. The right hand elaborates a melody, the way bobbin thread spins filigree lace. The left repeats 4 notes, the same throughout, a lullaby. My hands, like my body, churn atoms. This invisible smithy summons Chopin's melody, penned over a century ago, full of turns, trills, ornaments, to evoke bel canto singing. The dance of my hands becomes a dance of my wholeness. I touch white ivory, black wooden keys to strike strings, make atoms of sound vibrate. My fingers on point for tone, my feet adroitly tap pedals. Like a human breath, a musical phrase rises, falls, another answers. A wistful conversation ends as notes like a waterfall cascade across the keyboard. The piano's body shivers. Tips of fingers sail off keys breathlessly. Dreamy sensations hover at the window of sleep. Far off tiny bells ring, the sound of stars twinkling. Atoms tiptoe in harmony, a smooth choreography that closes eyelids. Clouds climb over the moon and dissolve. Whiffs of lavender float over a cradle. Chopin, hard at work, dips his pen into ink, dabs black marks to croon a mesmerizing lullaby.
Beautiful.
Dance of Atoms. At the piano, I play Chopin's Berceuse. The right hand elaborates a melody, the way bobbin thread spins filigree lace. The left repeats 4 notes, the same throughout, a lullaby. My hands, like my body, churn atoms. This invisible smithy summoned Chopin's melody, penned over a century ago, full of turns, trills, ornaments, to evoke bel canto singing. The dance of my hands becomes a dance of my wholeness. I touch white ivory, black wooden keys to strike strings, make atoms of sound vibrate. My fingers
on point for tone. My feet adroitly tap pedals. Like a human breath, a musical phrase rises, falls, another answers. A wistful conversation ends as notes, like a waterfall, cascade across the keyboard. The piano's body shivers. Tips of fingers sail off keys breathlessly. Dreamy sensations hover at the window of sleep. Far off, tiny bells ring, the sound of stars twinkling. Atoms tiptoe in harmony, a smooth choreography that closes eyelids. Clouds climb over the moon and dissolve. Whiffs of lavender float over a cradle. Chopin, hard at work, dips his pen into ink, dabs black marks to croon a mesmerizing lullaby. Dance of atoms.
The Dancing
Hello.
Poetry Festival and Artist Embassy International welcome the poetry winners of the 28th annual Dancing Poetry Festival, created to encourage poetry and poetry together with dance, and to further understanding and peace through the universal language of the arts.
Our first poet will be Rosalind L. Braga from Castro Valley, California, reading Arrival of Spring Despite the Pandemic. Rosalind?
Thank you. So yes, I'm Rosalind Braga, and I do live in Castro Valley. That's in the East Bay of San Francisco. And the title, Arrival of Spring Despite the Pandemic. I wrote this in 2020, as you will discover. So let me start. Hundreds of wild orange poppies have returned to adorn the hills and valleys in California as winter gives way to spring. We celebrate the passing of another season from the confined interior of our homes and apartments. Truly, we are apart. We have had to give up socializing with friends and neighbors and shelter in place for the sake of everyone in the world. This sheltering is a daily act of unselfishness. We do not want to infect anyone with the coronavirus. Meanwhile, the signs of spring are everywhere. The climbing roses inch their way up the trellis and burst into bloom, a living tapestry of green and ruby red. Petite Santa Barbara daisies love the warm weather, forming short hedges of white and green along the walkways. The rosemary and catnip grow overnight into tall stalks, giving off a magnificent aroma. A variety of wildflowers fill the green hillsides along the freeways, inviting us to slow down, take notice. The parks are closed, but many people are walking the golf courses just to get in touch with nature, breathe in the fresh air. Hummingbirds hover to get nectar from the bell bush. Many birds sing in the trees, calling to their mates. Other feathered friends feed on fresh seeds in the feeder, while woodpeckers relish the seed-filled suet hanging in the tulip tree. Squirrels hang upside down on the feeder, eating and showing off. Morning has broken like the first morning. Despite all, spring has arrived once again, bringing hope and renewal. So this poem came to me as I was sheltering in place. And I heard from a friend that the golf course at Rossmore that has many, many residents are now overflowing with people in walkers, on canes, and they are walking the golf course to see nature. And they said, we don't know how we're going to get rid of them when we open up the golf course again. So I just want to invite all of you to remember every morning when you get up and look out the window, pause for a moment and say to yourself, morning has broken like the first morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. That was beautiful. Our next reader, Jerry Hardesty from Byerfield, Alabama, with Moonshine. Jerry?
Jerry Hardesty from Byerfield, Alabama. And we won the nonprofit poetry organization, New Dawn Unlimited, Inc., where we do publishing and programs in schools and live poetry events, including poetry slams and open mics. And I'm excited to be here today. My poem is called Moonshine. The crescent moon hung languid in the night, just dripping beams of liquid glowing light, anointing tops of trees and cliffs below in silver drape of water falling flow, igniting lakes with luminescent shine and causing shadow vines to intertwine. Reflecting off the rocks, it amplifies till moonlight spreads like swarms of fireflies. It enters every corner, dark and deep, and dances on our eyelids as we sleep, and sprinkles dots of glitter through our dreams, reminding us that life's more than it seems. The lunar radiance in shades of blue bathes jagged city streets in peaceful hue, makes beautiful the concrete jungle walls, all slick and played with shade like marble halls. That ghostly orb that daily rolls about makes all the earth look different when she's out. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Catherine Wilson, you're up next. Catherine Wilson, San Jose, California, has two prize-winning poems to read for us, Last Chance Road and a tribute to John Lewis, House of Representatives. Catherine?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, great, welcome.
Yeah, good. I sometimes have trouble getting on. So I'll start with Last Chance Road. It's a poem that's based on a newspaper article, and the names have been changed. This is Ken Reed calling from the Asilomar Hotel. Firemen brought me here when Pine Mountain Fire blocked the road. I'm glad to shower off the smoky smell. It's been 40 years since Bonnie helped me build our dream abode. I ran back to grab the message Bonnie wrote just before she died from cancer she had suffered all last year. It's my only souvenir, her loving note. I looked back running, saw the structure disappear, then plunged into the pond, my hair on fire. A pipe served as a snorkel when I took a breath, submerging as the flame shot even higher. Much later, surfaced at the edge of death, I heard 2 cords of wood burn, propane tanks explode. A solar light still shone and served as guide across the fallen trees towards Last Chance Road. A ghost-like figure stumbled to my side. My neighbor Pete waved through a wall of smoke. We walked 6 miles together, thanked our luck to have escaped unharmed till my shoes broke, and then were rescued by the Cal Fire truck. For now, I'll couch surf till I can return and build anew the house that I saw burn.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay. The next one is a tribute to John Lewis, House of Representatives. Across the Pettus Bridge, the death cart clattered. Black horses, frock coat, coachman in top hat conveyed a lifeless man whose black life mattered. South to the spot where, bleeding, he fell flat. Along the Alabama River where cicadas in the summer heat sang loud, the family of John Lewis took great care to place red roses, cheered on by the crowd, exactly where the wagon wheels would go, and leave red stains where he received the blow. Courageous icon, not afraid of fights, he paved the way for voter civil rights.
Those are fabulous poems, Catherine. Thank you.
I'm Natika Angley, and this is Richard Angley. And we are so proud to introduce the poet Lorraine Walker Williams.
Lorraine will be reading from 2 of her prize-winning poems from this year's 2021 Dancing Poetry Festival contest. Lorraine, take it away.
Thank you so much. It is delightful to be here and certainly my pleasure to read my poetry. The first poem that I'm going to read, The Diva of Disaster, was actually written about 1 year ago when I was in Pasadena, California during fires. So it comes out of experience. The Diva of Disaster. The diva of disaster twirls into your place, does not respect your space. She sweeps right through the door. Breath by breath, you can't ignore her filmy robe, her glittering red-rimmed eye. She flicks her ash, obliterates blue sky. a blazing hot mama, jeweled in flames, a challenge to contain, will smother you, cover you, blow smoke in your face. Burning with passion, she will take your breath away. Her fire will consume you, lick by lick, and leave you scarred. Don't mess with her. Be on guard. Uncontrolled, her rage explodes. A fireball you can't escape. Plan your exit before it's too late. Smoky eyes and billowing plumes mean evacuate. She is an uninvited guest, riding on her fame. This diva of disaster, know her name. Say her name. Climate change. Thank you. The second poem that it is my pleasure to read has a very brief journal entry after the title to introduce the concept of what this poem is about. Letter to domestic terrorists. The shadow of the tree climbs the wall of the building, darkening light. The shadow has spread like a warning. You know there is little you can do to stop its advance. Journal entry January 6, 2021. You, I am writing to you, glaring into your eyes. I despise what you did. It has come to this wanton ripping at the seams of freedom. You have defaced the rule of law, breached the doors of the Capitol. You, shattering glass to break into the people's house. You, taking a selfie in the rotunda, smiling to capture your criminal moment. You with your sprawl at Nancy Pelosi's desk, blatant disrespect, gratuitous grin. You violated all that the Speaker of the House stands for. You violated me. You mob storming like Nazis, crazy QAnon, Proud Boys, or whatever you foul-mouthed, weapon-toting thugs call yourselves. I am appalled. You claim to be patriotic Americans, yet you won't face facts. Blinded, you thrive on conspiracy theories. I want to vomit these words, sick to my soul. You selfish, non-mask wearing cult. You drank the Kool-Aid, swallowed MAGA doses of white supremacy. double shots of racism. You are drunk with defiance and destruction. You carried a Confederate flag. You, and I mean you, I'm taking this personally. There is no middle ground. I have shut that door. You brag, gutter civic pride, raise your flags. You smoked and smashed the sacred halls of liberty. You threatened lives. You dishonored all who have fought and died for democracy. You epitomize hypocrisy. Your lawlessness is the demise of your dissent.
Spring is here. Hiding fairies are ready to bloom. All plants are climbing out of the darkness, stretching their arms to embrace the warmth of the sun, ready to open cycles of growing and rebirth, hoping for the bees to come dance on their stems, share pollen, sweet nectar of life, bright colors of spring, awakening all the fae, floating on air, watching over the forest. They play. They dance. They know all are in a special synchronicity of life, all part of the plan, helping balance the world. Friends of the trees, the fae, don't forget the butterflies and all the magic green of spring. Spreading seeds in the soil. Happy fae, flying here and there, joyful just to be alive, a celebration of the journey to be here. So full of life and fun, the fae can play mischief on you one day. So keep your eyes open when in the woods. You never know when one wants to play.
Our next reader will be Elizabeth Norris from Oakland, California, with Meditation in Watercolors. Betsy?
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Pelias Norris. 30 years ago, I founded a literary magazine, Prisms, at St. Joseph Notre Dame High School in Alameda. And after a 40-year career teaching, I retired and decided to try my hand at watercolors. So I never had an art class ever before. Anyway, this is my meditation in watercolors. A row of brushes, different sizes and shapes, a palette of colors like Joseph's coat, cold pressed pure cotton paper, a recycled yogurt tub of water. I'm ready to create a soft hued landscape. I mix my paints first, a la mise en place, wash the sky in ultramarine blue, lovingly press in a few clouds, dot trees with leaves, layer green gold under my special blend of sap green, hooker's green, and burnt sienna, their sepia trunks beautifully imperfect. In the forefront, a field of wildflowers bursts in quinacridone, rose, and new gamboge. Or perhaps I'll create an orange sunset with quinacridone red and aureolin, slowly fading to pink over distant amethyst mountains and a darkening green field where ivory black silhouettes of children frolic in the foreground, ignore their mother's call to come in. But my creation is only a pale imitation of God's grandeur, ever-changing rivers of color that delight and inspire awe. My watercolors can wash away in the rain, fade over time. Joyce Kilmer was right. Poems and art are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree.
Beautiful, thank you. Our next poem is by Louise Moises of Richmond, California, titled Bedside Literature. Louise is out on the road, who knows where, someplace on the continent. And so Johanna Ely will be reading for her. Johanna?
I'm so honored and happy to read this poem for Louise Moises from Richmond, California. The poem is titled Bedside Literature. Cautiously, the cat steps on the mountain of books on my husband's side of the bed, the side now vacant. Pawing across the slippery bindings, whiskers working, he sniffs the corners, nibbles at loose pages, stops to groom his claws, then continues to assess familiar authors. He feels the cold loneliness of the pillow that lacks an impression, declines to violate the empty space. Instead, he hunts through the bedside literature. He steps carefully over nonfiction, ignores the novels, apparently preferring verse. He noses the accumulation of poetic chapbooks, beginning with Mary Oliver. Curling finally in a ball of fur, he lets his white paws rest on T.S. Eliot, his chin on Wallace Stevens, a sweep of tail on Robert Frost. He closes his eyes At first he dreams in free verse, then he sniffs the air, stirs, adjusts his body, and as his kitty dreams appear in iambic pentameter, he wraps his entire body around an old leather-bound volume of Keats.
I like that one. Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay, now we have Tatiana Liukin from Burlingame, California, with her prize-winning poem, Keep Dancing. Tatiana?
Hi, everybody. My name is Tatiana. I'm from Burlingame, California, and my poem is called Keep Dancing. I just want to say something before I begin. I didn't want to tell what's going on in my life to Judy and Natika because I didn't want to have an unfair advantage. I didn't want people to feel pity for me. But this poem is dedicated to my niece, Katerina Sarova, who died of COVID, and she was only 17.
Oh.
So Kathy,
condolences.
Kathy, this is for you. Keep dancing. Keep dancing in the pale light of the moon. Go to the shore to collect alabaster shells. Dance beneath the stars. Watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. Giant flowers blossoming in the sky at the very edge of the night. Keep dancing. Feel the warmth of the morning sun on your face. Light a candle at night to chase the shadows away. Heal the wounds of the past. Make what's broken whole again. Keep dancing. Paint the sky in sweet pastels. Embrace what was, what will be. Don't surrender your dreams to the inky darkness of the night. Keep dancing. As long as there are lights in the darkness, all is well. Let yourself dream of the faraway places and distant stars. Today is a good day.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from the poet, Livingston Rossmore from Modesto, California, the blues guitarist. He can't read for himself with us, so I'll read the poem for him. He asked for that. Blues Guitarist by Livingston Rossmore. We call him Big Leo. He's not that big, just solid, moving at all times, as though he runs on batteries. Rest, recharge, then unstoppable motion. Leo speaks slowly with a deep voice. His mom says he is shy, always concerned things may not turn out great. And in the shadow of his big brother, he's not sure he can excel. That is why he loves his Red Sox baseball cap. Couple sizes too big, way oversized, covers his head, eyebrows, and most of his eyes. He feels secure hiding in that big hat because he thinks no one can see him since he can't see them. He really loves his 3-year-old's birthday gift, a toy blue guitar with a strap. All day long, he puts it on, runs, walks with it, strums to sound like he's playing a guitar. With his blue guitar, black band, and big hat, Leo strums the strings, kind of cool, like a real blues guitarist, if you stick a cigar in his mouth. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
That's good. That's so good.
And the next poet who will hear her poem is Annette Opalinsky. Annette Opalinsky, Newcastle, Delaware, explaining rain to a child. And she cannot be with us to read, so Natika will read her poem.
This is Annette Opalazinski. And thank you for having this opportunity to be able to share the variety of this poetry. This one, I think you'll enjoy also, just as we're enjoying every one of these creative, I think, masterworks that do lift the world in this time of need. Explaining rain to a child. Tell her about the rain. Say, sometimes it's a shower, a drizzle, a storm. Tell her about the thunder, how it is the sound of poetry being stepped on by little girls. When it storms, let her watch the wind part the grass and dandelions swoon. Let warm raindrops fall against her cheek like fingers drawing on her face when it's time to sleep. Tell her the rain can be whatever it wants, and so can she.
Very good. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much again.
The rise of incense and scented stars. We inhale the rising and scented stars that infuse our universe. The light of awake is aware of the eons of dancing and dreaming words. The dance of poetry represents the moving image. The rise of the incense that lifts and glides. The universe sustains engagement with the mission of the art of living. Consequence maintains a timeless embrace. Our dance with words in shifting, lifting air sculpts and shapes the rising atmosphere. Observance of space as a vast performance center, a poetry palace, a dancing place, a timeless theater we share together. Our poetry of possibility is ever present. Our striving futures come to view. Word and motion, lyrical phrases, and curving verbs are always under discussion. Tone poems in the key of love thrill with the pulse and artistry of the written and spoken and open exchange. The smoke of the incense is scented with essence. Smoky trails and curls and plumes move only skyward. A symphony of mystery is on the rise. Our passion for expression aspires. The smoking evidence of incense moves only in heaven's direction. Poets of now and then, inflame the spirit and write of the rise of the guiding incense. We ignite our burning intention, our smoldering dance of poetic essence. Poets of now and then, inflame the spirit and write of the rise of the guiding incense. We ignite our burning intention, our smoldering dance of poetic essence.
So I would like to say I am so honored to be here with so many pen women from across the United States. We're so happy to be here. I'm Natika Angeli. I'm the president of Artist Embassy International. This year, the Diablo Alameda branch has created and presented to the public by members of our branch a production called Peace and Peaceful Activism. It features the artistry of some of our members along with comments of how each of their specific works helps to serve peace through the art. In 2021 is also the 70th anniversary of Artist Embassy International. Artist Embassy International's purpose and mission is to further understanding and peace through the universal language of the arts. Recognition for spectacular work with this Artist Embassy Ambassador Award. I'd like to add an aside here. This award was created by the founder more than 70 years ago when she encountered and peace missions and met in international peace events with Mahatma Gandhi. And it was agreed that the artists of the world made natural ambassadors toward peace. This service of peace is celebrated, and in 2021, this Artist Ambassador Award honors the artistry of these participants. And I hope you will hold up what we have is our awards. I wish we could say our names, and the diversity of the artistry that's represented here is pretty magnificent. Yep. These are our awardees by Artist Embassy this year. Branch President, Winifred Thompson, Ray Surup, Usha Shukla, Pat Doyne, Julie Cohn, Ann Maloney Mason, Elizabeth Hack, Mary Feynman, Charlotte Severin, Francis Spencer, Joanne Frisch, Kazumi Cranny, Margaret Davis, Natika Angeli, and a very special thanks for the heroic work of Deborah Collins. So I do want us all to applaud each other because this was a monumental event. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Artist Embassy International and the Dancing Poetry Festival congratulate our award-winning members for the significant presentation and creation of the video Peace and Peaceful Activism. Thank you for showing your awards. Let's applaud one more time. Thank you all for being so oriented toward helping the world with your arts and being such great artists and professionals. It is such a pleasure to be a part of you. Thank you very much to all the Penn women. Let's give each other a hand. Yay. Now, and I think Winnie should say a couple of words maybe. Can you say a word or two, Winnie or Rui?
Let's see. Well, thank you all for coming. This has been exciting to plan for and to get. I think Zoom's the greatest thing that ever happened to Penn Women myself. I've been in Penn Women over 20 years and I never, it's so great to see faces and hope to see you all in person someday. But thank you, Jill, for moderating. You've done a terrific job and it's been a great day. We'll plan for another event with another branch and hopefully then we'll all get to know one another in person.
I need to add out one person that in our group is also a tech person. It's Judy Cohn. Yeah, and she's not here today.
Julie's
but
not,
she did
not here today. Yeah, she's done a lot.
She's a wonderful.
We have a lot of really talented people who've just joined in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's just been really wonderful.
Well, I wanted to highlight some of the especially heroic people who were a part of this year's many events, but especially Deborah. I was hoping she would stand up and take a bow and we could applaud her a little bit.
Yes.
Because she nurtured this project so beautifully. So Deborah, can you stand up for us?
I'm sorry if I stand up, you'll just get a picture of my belly. So I'm going to.
We don't.
But I do want to say how much I enjoy working with the Penn women in my branch. Our video came together so easily because of everybody's effort, the artwork, the performances, people helping with the video, planning it. That was a big project for our branch, and everyone did such a wonderful job. It made my job easy. So thank you to them, and thank you for this honor, Natika.
Oh, thank you so much.
I just wanted to mention, since we're talking here, but Deborah actually came and did a presentation for the Modesto branch at our request. She helped us with some Zoom video instruction, and she was very, very good, well received, and very well liked, and we just love her.
Well, thank you.
And this is really making me feel like maybe we could in the future do a NorCal branch / Delaware State branch, something or other, like a show, because it seems like we all like to do that. Even if we end up doing virtually, I think it would be fantastic.
I do too. Great.
Yep. And if I may put in one more word, when you want to talk about people getting together and sharing and learning from each other, remember that one of these days we're going to be able to celebrate our 50th biennial. Think about coming to Washington, D.C. I would love for you to visit my house.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Fresh poetry prompts. The well-caught truth is a thing of beauty, greatness, and interest. A prompt brings a freshness of bloom and blush, budding in happiness, a blissful flash. Surprise and circumstance blend to flawlessness. Temperature and temperament are stirred together. The mix feels right. The poem moves the mind and pen. The poet attempts to walk on the waters, observant and above emotion. Emergence with desire to rise sets the tone and stirs to focus. Essence pairs with motion. Energy and intrigue step to the challenge, pierce the stillness. The dancing spirit responds with reference, suggestion, allusion. Reason is linked and fathoms braved. Each poem informs, selects dialects. The senses filled with kinetic perception. Reality, fantasy, and the future of the printed word record in form and document. Attractions are straight to the heart. Some are chemical, others are built on history, past and in the making. Each poet writes of the rises and crashes of weathering tides. Relationships are often imaginative and full of surprise. Elements of the prompt are energized. Each challenge must cross the mind and stir the depths. Rhythm and count is intuitive. Identities are qualified. Each approach that has told, that tells, and may tell invests in shares of the dance of humanity. Poets are ready, prompted, and seasoned with maturity. Connections created, thoughts innovated, and aha discoveries are written from the prompts that usher the poem into the session. Poetry is joined to action with memory and spontaneity. First drawn from the seas of the cosmos, poetry breathes the breath of the essence of memory. This poetry is well served and is powerful and fresh. Poetry is joined to action with memory and spontaneity. First drawn from the seas of the cosmos, poetry breathes the breath of the essence of memory. This poetry is well served and is powerful and fresh.
diving deep, deep within myself, deeper than the circling predators, deeper than the strands of kelp. There is, in the thickest, blackest murk, a lotus growing from within, radiating light through surrounding darkness, glowing with vibrancy. The essential force and source of life. From this lotus, I gather energy to re-emerge through the dangers, following strands of kelp, to ascend back into the light, to live my life knowing there is a solution deep within myself. There is a solution deep within myself. But she's a fabulous organizer. She also has a dance company, Redwood Empire Chinese Association. She teaches drumming and drum dancing, and you can go and join it anytime. Also, we hope you will. Here's Judy. Give her a big hand. Wow.
with song. Left, the other side of their with, without their with. Your with, which you dare, without their with. Your with, which you wear. Your with, which you're with. Your with your with. With. Song with your with. Right there. With your with. Drumming with. With song.